Hey y'all, good morning. Welcome to another Saints pregame live chat. If you just let me know in the comments if you're having any audio difficulties. As usual, I'm a little flummoxed by my setup. As you can see, it's a little different. I got a little backdrop going on behind me. But yeah, just let me know if you're having any issues hearing me. Let me know in the comments and I'll see what I can do to fix it. But otherwise, let's dive right in. We got Saints-Falcons coming up in about 28 minutes, give or take. I'm a little late on the uptick here. We have a noon start for one of the few times all season. And, I have a little trouble waking up for this. Thank you for the folks telling me that you can hear me because that's always helpful. Because I can hear me. It's just a question. I want to make sure I'm not talking to a wall. So that's good. I always have a little trouble turning it around for these morning starts because the Saints have so many nighttime, afternoon kickoffs because it's such a good draw nationally. They get thrown into those matchups, and they always play well in them, and they always draw a big crowd. So it makes sense that they would pull them in. This time, I saw Mina Kimes tweet, flex Saints-Falcons to Sunday night, or we riot. I'm glad they didn't. I could use a noon start and get some sleep tonight for one of the first times all season, because those nighttime starts are always rough covering the game because you're working until 2-3 a.m. a lot of the time because the game doesn't end until 11. You get all the interviews. This time we'll have a nice good start. We don't have to wait around all day to watch them, which is good because we have, as you can see on the image to the right, which I will make bigger, we have Taysom Time today. One of the most interesting storylines of the week beyond, kind of Drew Brees' injury was who's going to be the starting quarterback for the Saints. I think a lot of people assumed it was going to be Jameis Winston because of what happened last year when Drew Brees got hurt. And they went with Teddy Bridgewater, and it was kind of a given that he was going to be the starter and Taysom was going to be the backup in that situation. That's not what happened this time around. Sean Payton came out and named Taysom Hill as the starter. And I think a lot of people thought that might have been a smokescreen. But I think it was more likely that, as a few people have pointed out, they paid this guy a lot of money and they want to see what he has. And this is the opportunity to do that. It's going to be interesting to see how he comes out. If he comes out looking like a different guy than you saw in those kind of one-off snaps. I think that's a lot of what the criticism is based on is, he doesn't look like he's going through his progressions well in those like single quarterback snaps. A lot of his reads look pre-designed and he kind of looks limited in a lot of those situations. And to that, I say you are correct. He did look that way. But that's the nature of coming in and playing one snap at quarterback throughout the course of an NFL game. You're not going to be able to sit there and read a defense and see what they did last time and come back and attack that look again in a different way. You're not going to be able to study the tape on how they covered something and then come back and adjust the play design slightly to be more effective. You're not going to be able to do that. You're going to have one design, and if you hit it, it works, great. If you don't, then the situation was always, worst case scenario, he can run for 8, 10, 12 yards. And that's what he did. I think if he gets extended snaps, you're going to see a little different approach from Taysom Hill today. And I'd be lying if I could tell you what to expect in terms of Taysom Hill's performance. It could be so of this wide swath of results that we just can't, you just kind of have to see what happens. And I'm fascinated. I don't know if it's going to go well, but I'm certainly fascinated to see how it develops. And if you're starting him in fantasy today, I don't see why not. He's going to get yards. He's going to run for yards one way or another. The thing you're concerned about is him trying to press the issue too much and throws a few interceptions, fumbles, doesn't have pocket presence, scrambles too quickly. That's what you're worried about. But one way or the other, he's going to put up numbers. And it's just a matter of whether he does that in an effective winning effort or whether that's a lot of garbage time because the offense just bogged down, turned the ball over, that sort of thing. Ball control is going to be very important today. Winning the turnover battle is going to be very important today. The Saints don't have Marshon Lattimore. We can go through the inactives pretty quickly here, which let's see if I can switch over a tab. Oh, that's the wrong one. Let's go back. So here are the inactives really quick. Amy, our Saints reporter, Amy just posted this. So you have a few injury scratches today. Marshon Lattimore is not going to be playing. He went out with an injury late last week. It was listed as an oblique injury. Josh Hill is also out. He had a concussion last week. Dwayne Washington also out for the Saints. Drew Brees obviously is inactive. He's on IR after those rib injuries. But surprisingly to me, based on the nature of the hit he took, Traquan Smith is actually active. Is actually active today after a really nasty hit. It took a concussion, or he suffered a concussion. He missed the second half of last week's game. 49ers defensive back Jimmy Ward kind of came in with an elbow late in that first half on a pass from Brees and a touchdown drive after Brees got hurt. I'm surprised to see him in there, which is really good sign for him. It means he got through the concussion protocol very quickly. But it's going to be interesting to see how without Marshawn Lattimore, the defense holds up. You're going to see a lot more Patrick Robinson. You're probably going to see a lot more PJ Williams. Janoris Jenkins is going to have to try to lock down Julio Jones, and someone else is going to have to match up on Calvin Ridley. The Falcons, don't take the Falcons for granted here. I mean, they're 3-6. They were 0-5 at one point. They've won 3 of the last 4 games. They fired their coach, so there's always going to be this kind of energy that is associated with trying to prove you're better than everyone says you are. And the fact is the Falcons have talent on that roster, and their problems the last few years have not been not having the players to win games. They have the players, and that's part of the reason that it's been a frustrating thing if you talk to any Falcons fan to watch how bad that team has been, how much they've struggled, knowing that they have all these talented players. Julio Jones is still, a top 3 wide receiver in the NFL. Calvin Ridley has been one of the great young receivers to come out of the scene in the last few years. Todd Gurley is Todd Gurley. I mean, so you're talking about a team that can score with the best of them. It's just usually a question of whether that defense can hold up and whether they can avoid turning the ball over and possess the ball. But generally speaking, this is not a team you want to take lightly. They've lost 2 games this year, blowing huge fourth quarter leads, 15 points and 16 points. And while it's kind of fun to troll the Falcons for blowing leads, they still had 15 and 16 point leads in the fourth quarter. If they don't blow those in the most spectacular fashion, you're talking about a 5-4 football team, a playoff team. So it would be wise for the Saints fans to not go into this game expecting a rout. It might turn into one, but just like last year in Week 10 when the Falcons came in and kind of embarrassed the Saints, I think you're looking at a game that the Saints are not going to walk over the Falcons on this one. They always come in with energy. Before I get to some questions, I want to say throw in your score predictions. I am very curious, as always, what y'all think, how confident y'all are. And also, if anyone has any predictions for Taysom Hill, I'm curious what they are. Throw those in the comments. I'm going to start going through some questions now. Let's see. First, we got John T. Who dat from Canada. That's always fun. It's cold up there. I am of French-Canadian heritage, so it's near and dear to my heart from the Quebec area. So good to see you, John. We got a couple who dats. Jake Corona, Wesley Matheny. I almost called you Wesley Matthews. He's the NBA player. Terrence, who that? Okay, who dat? I think I said who that like a northerner. I don't want to do that to you. Okay, keep going through. Okay, Willie Chess is in the dome. An interesting story from today is the Falcons actually returned a bunch of tickets. So there's a bunch of tickets at the box office. If anyone's wandering by the Superdome and wants to jump in there, you might be able to get a seat, believe it or not, even though there's only 6,000 fans. I don't know what I'm looking at over here. Okay. Winston will be in by halftime. Come on, James. Don't do that to us. I honestly don't think so. The level to which this experiment would have to fail to have the Saints reverse course mid-game and completely take away any confidence that they have been able to instill in Taysom Hill as a quarterback. I mean, I don't see that happening. Even they might be losing. They would have to be losing this game significantly, and Taysom Hill would have to be just driving off of a bridge in order for them to completely just pull the rug out from under him. You have to imagine what that does to the confidence level of a guy who you're going to need going through the rest of the season. Even if Drew Brees comes back, you do not want to completely destroy the confidence of a guy like Taysom Hill, who is finally, after putting in his time, getting a chance to be a quarterback. He always says after the preseason games, he loves preseason because it's a chance for him to be a quarterback. And whatever you want to call him, whatever his fantasy eligibility claims, he has not been a quarterback for the last 3 years. For every game that he has played for the Saints, he has been some other quasi, whatever you want to call it, flex. He's essentially the flex of real life NFL. And this is his chance to be a quarterback. And you have to understand that he is going to be so hyped up for this game. He wants to be a quarterback. He doesn't want to be this, hybrid, learn 17 different positions, and then if you screw up at any of them, you get roasted by the fan base. He wants to be a quarterback, and him doing that for the team is like just a sacrifice of himself wanting to win, wanting the team to win, wanting to contribute. So this is a huge moment for him personally. And I do not think the Saints, as much as they want to win this game, it would take a very, very wild confluence of events to have them completely bail on it. And I just don't see it happening. They might lose this game, but I don't think they're going to lose this game and also actively, destroy the confidence of Taysom Hill. I don't see that happening. But thanks for joining, James. Okay, we're going through. There's another one. Yeah, I don't think so. I think you're going to see Taysom Hill as a quarterback. There might be a few plays where maybe if Taysom has a long run and he's completely just beat and it's a situation where you want to run Jameis Winston on there to hand the ball off to Kamara just to give Taysom Hill a blow so that you don't end up with a delayed game penalty or a poorly run play because he's exhausted. And I mean, how many times does a quarterback run 30, 40 yards down the field, right? And then you're trying to reset and call a play in the huddle or call a play at the line. That's a situation where I could see Jameis Winston just getting a quick run out there just to keep the flow of the offense and allow Taysom Hill to kind of catch his breath, because he hasn't done this in terms of running a play from quarterback and then coming back and playing quarterback again. So that's something to keep in mind, but I don't think you're going to see, it was reported early in the week they have not designed any offensive sets around Jameis Winston. So I don't think that you're going to see them just kind of like flip him in and out the way that the Saints have been with Taysom and Drew Brees. I wouldn't be surprised if you see wildcat snaps from Kamara. That's something that's part of the playbook that really opens up, because you can't prepare for that, because Taysom Hill can, most times, and I'm rambling a bit, I'm kind of jumping around, but one of the issues with the wildcat is you take the quarterback off the field. And so it's very apparent what's going to happen. And you want the running back to throw the ball, so you're going to play that. You're going to play the run, and it's a very limited set that's pretty easy to plan for and defend. I keep hitting the mic, I'm sorry. In this case, they can actually surprise people by lining up in the wildcat and confidently put Taysom Hill over in the slot to run a safe route that's still a threat. When you throw Drew Brees off to the sideline, that he's not going to run a route. So at the very least, you don't really have to pay attention. You just have to keep somebody in the vicinity knowing they're not going to throw the ball there. But when it's Taysom Hill going out to the edge, you can't just dismiss that out of hand. He could come back in motion and take the snap and throw it. He could run a route. He could run a fade route, and Kamara is going to just take the ball and run in behind him, right? So that's going to be something that I would watch for. And I would be surprised if the Saints don't open up that playbook a bit. The wildest score ever, Saints 42, Falcons 22. I'd be surprised if they have the ball enough to score 42 points. And by that, I mean, when Taysom Hill, I think you're going to see extended possessions. You're going to see 12, 13 play drives that are easy to extend when you get into third and short, and the quarterback has this option to run at any point, and it's very difficult to defend. Even if the Saints win by 2 scores, I don't think it's going to get to 40. It's hard to see a scenario where they just get that many possessions. But interesting. I'm going to be watching with very interested feelings to see if you can be correct there. Sink or swim for Taysom. That's a good point. It is going to be a question going forward. If he struggles, do you stay with him? Not this week specifically, as I said before, but next week and week 12, week 13, before Drew Brees gets back. Who knows? But yeah, I mean, if he struggles, I would not be surprised if this is a discussion we're having again next week. Hoping to see a split QB backfield with Taysom and Jameis. Been wanting to see it with Taysom and Drew, but I'm anticipating trick plays today. I'm not sure what you mean by a split QB backfield. You can't run somebody has to be lined up over the center. So you can't just have two guys and then like have the center try to snap to one angle. One guy has to be behind the center and the other guy has to be either set in the pistol or set in the I or set to the H. So I don't. I think what you're describing is like almost like a Y or like a triangle where they don't know who's going to get the ball snapped to them. That would be in a league of formation. So I don't think you're going to see anything like that. I think you're going to see Taysom Hill as the quarterback because that's what they want to see. That's what the Saints want to figure out. They paid him a lot of money. They want to see what he has to offer. I was there two years ago. I'm not sure what you're saying in the second half. But yeah, the thing to keep in mind is this is the first time the Falcons have played since Thanksgiving the Saints and Falcons have played since Thanksgiving of last year. That was the Shy Tuttle, stiff arms Matt Ryan off the face of the planet. It was better in German. I tweeted a video of that and it went bonkers with Bjorn Warner, former NFL player, and Roman Moskis on the call. And the best part about it is when Matt Ryan gets stiff armed, they just start cackling. It's on our YouTube page if you want to check it out. That's New Orleans Saints and NOLA.com over on YouTube. Yeah, it's something anytime I'm having a bad week, I go back and watch that because I just literally cannot watch it without laughing. The second they start laughing, I start laughing every time. I've watched it at least 200 times probably. It's always funny. Okay, yeah, years. Yeah, so 2 years ago today. Wow, it was 2 years ago today. Wow, it's crazy. South Texas in the house. Taysom is ready. He's been waiting for this. Earned this. Proved me wrong. No, I mean, I think, whatever you want to say about the situation, whether he can be a successful quarterback, you have to be happy for Taysom Hill. I mean, he has put in so much time in order to get to this point, and he wants to be a starting quarterback in the NFL. As selfless as he is in blocking and running all of these plays that he didn't come into the league, to do. He's done it very selflessly, and he's, the same way last year you were happy to see Teddy Bridgewater be successful so he could go on and sign somewhere else. You always knew the Saints weren't going to have enough money to keep him around as long as Drew Brees was a starter because you can't pay $20 million to your backup, at least $20 million a year. You got to feel the same for Taysom Hill. I mean, a lot of people wanted to see Jameis Winston in this game, but I had someone say, it's too bad for Jameis. I mean, I would feel more sympathy for Taysom Hill because that would be just another opportunity for him to actually showcase his quarterback skill set, kind of just disappearing on him. So, whatever happens, you can't be you have to be happy for Taysom Hill as a player, as a quarterback, as a person. Because he's done everything the franchise has asked him, and he's now getting his opportunity. Yeah, I don't think you're going to see that. I really don't. I think they want to see what Taysom Hill can do as a quarterback. They're not going to try to get gimmicky in terms of switching up the quarterback and catching Falcons off guard with Jameis Winston. You might see like a couple plays where Jameis Winston gets on the field, but again, I think that they want this to be Taysom's game. 38-27. I could see that score. Why they're not showing our game on Fox? They are. This is a Fox game, but it's noon. I'm not sure what the question is. This game is on Fox. Locally, I mean, you might be talking nationally. I'm guessing that's what this question is. They're showing it on Fox locally. It might not be the national broadcast. It's always tough. They've had 7 national broadcasts already, so it's kind of tough. But yeah, I mean, the networks couldn't plan for this game, and they only have so many options in terms of switching around. Just want to see them win. Yeah, I mean, a win today would be important. This is it's still a situation where they need to win every game. They're tied with the Packers at the top of the conference. They're a half game up on the Bucs. This is all important. Thought Jameis was starting. Taysom as well. Nope, Taysom is starting. Sean Payton announced it on Friday, and it's been a whole lot of that conversation for the last 2 days. So it's going to be fun. Stacking the box, forcing Taysom to throw. Yeah, right. And that's the thing. They have to. And that's why Taysom Hill presents a threat that is very difficult to cover because he can always run. So he's going to get a lot of looks that Drew Brees would not. He's going to get a lot of looks that Jameis Winston would not. He's going to get a lot of very attractive throwing opportunities going to be on him to be able to make those throws. And so that's the question. Can he go through his reads? Can he be a quarterback? And then also because he's going to be able to fall back on that skill set of being able to move and being able to run. And so it's going to be on whether he can be the quarterback that you need him to be to make the defense pay when they go soft in the box, when they go heavy in the box and go light on the back end, when they go into cover 0, can he make that throw over the top? When they go into cover 1, can he hit that corner route that you just can't cover? Because there's a safety in the middle of the field. You know, you're going to run divide concepts that make that safety decide whether he wants to cover the corner, whether he wants to cover the dig on the opposite or the seam route. And he's going to have to make the correct read and make the throw. And I mean, the same way Lamar Jackson, I don't want to compare him to Lamar Jackson. I don't. They're very different players, but for the same reason that Lamar Jackson is successful, Taysom Hill can be successful. He just has to be able to make those throws. And Lamar Jackson has proven that he can, because you have to defend players, the mobile quarterbacks, a certain way. And it's just a matter of whether you can make the throw. 2 takeaways, score gets us to 42. Yeah, they get some turnovers. I could see it getting to 42. Yeah, I mean, you could see some really wacky formations just because like I said, I think you could see some interesting Wildcat looks. But all right, we're getting close to game time. It's only about 7 minutes away, so I'm going to let you get to it. Thanks for everyone who tuned in. It's going to be a fun one. My prediction, I think it's going to be lower scoring because I think the Saints are going to control the ball. I think it's going to be the 28-23, 28-22 in that range. Saints win. I don't think the Falcons just have the fortitude this year to come into the Superdome and win a game. It's going to be about 6,000 fans there, so it's going to be kind of loud. Maybe. I don't know. But that's going to be my prediction. Thanks for everyone who tuned in. Again, my name is Jeff Nowak, digital sports producer for NOLA.com. You can follow me on Twitter at Jeff_Nowak. And let's see what happens. Thanks, y'all. Peace.